Hello, dear audience of the RIGA International Film Festival. I'm very delighted to meet you in this virtual environment, and I'm more delighted to have for a conversation very talented director and experimental film artist, Taiki Sakpisit, and his wonderful, wonderful film, The Edge of Daybreak. Hi, Taiki.
Hello, Dārta, and hi to the RIGA audience. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So we have a very, unfortunately, very limited time. I think we could dive directly into your remarkable film, actually. This is, I could say, from my personal perspective, one of the favorites of this year. It's a quiet revelation for me personally. There are a lot of threads and themes to start and talk about, but maybe you could give a little bit a background and more flesh of the military coups in Thailand and what events are combined together in this dreamlike state, or this what you call as a paralysis.
Yeah, so when I was writing the film, The Edge of Daybreak, I knew that I wanted to express something that is important. So I started with the concept of like I want to represent the two crucial events in Thai political history, which is the October 6, 1976, up until the 2006. The Thaksin Shinawat, the former Thai Prime Minister, the coup d'etat, and then within that 30-year period. So I thought about like how would I capture that. So I thought about like the theme of paralysis, the idea of physical and psychological paralysis that evolved around one family in particular, and 30 years duration within this family. So the film is not necessarily political, it's more like a psychological statement, the impact of these two political events on one family. So yes, so that's kind of like how I started out.
But as I understood, actually, this is like a recurring theme in your previous works, as I've done the research, this kind of political intervention in personal relations, and also what is most importantly in this film, how it affects family structure itself.
Yeah, because I wanted the film to be universal, even though the subject is really, really Thai, but I want to kind of relate my own personal experience. And then in a very universal, in which like the pain and suffering and the trauma that the protagonists have, which I think can universally speak in terms of the wider audience. And then like I want to have my personal input in the film as well. So yeah, I think that is something that important to me. This kind of like undercurrent theme of the like you go into the subconscious of the characters in the film.
I agree. I would say that in terms of visuality and the composition, this is something where in cinema we experience quite rare, that we have this dreamlike quality, and this is also like a lethargical kind of sleep, a nightmarish situation actually, and it's quite, how to say, dense and also very in a way delicate at the same time. It has this very, very unique style. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about the approach towards visuality and the visual narrative.
So I think the decision of the visual that is not very obvious is the use of black and white, which for me is very philosophical. So like the film is about like this kind of existential crisis. So I want so when I was writing the script, I thought about like, oh, all the textures, all this kind of emotion that the character experiencing. I want to capture that in terms of the light and shadows, the texture, sometimes the shadows can talk. So this kind of like very omnipresence of the violence or the evil presence that we feel, particularly in the husbands. We don't see the husband in a really much later in the film, but we can feel his like presence throughout the film. This kind of like impending dooms. So then so I thought about like, okay, so black and white is kind of like perfect to kind of like for this film.
But also about this black and white aesthetics and overall, as you said, in your film, you didn't try to have this very political undertone itself. But maybe your thoughts of choosing to film or depict maybe some parts in the film in black and white, so it differs to numerous other filmmakers. Why do you think it's so distinctive now? The loss of colors or having this privilege from a spectator's perspective to reimagine him or herself, the world, what is delivered in front of him or her. What is so unique about having film in black and white now?
I think, yeah. So I think the black and white can reduces a lot of things. So for me personally, I think it kind of like reduces to the essence of the film itself. Like in a way, I was thinking also, this reminded me of a Bresson quote, Robert Bresson, like, it's not about beautiful image, but what is essential, the essence of the image, that is really important. So, like by having deduct the colors, so I think you look more on the most essential, the faces, the textures, the lighting, the shadow. And then for this film is really crucial part of the narrative. The black and white is kind of like another very important character in the film. So yes, so that's kind of like what I thought about it.
But maybe you can talk a little bit about the family structure where we're finding Parl, Ploy, and others, and their relationship with this never-ending memory or sleep from the past that haunts them in a very, very sublime way.
Yeah, so making film for me is kind of like, in a way, is kind of it's really mysterious medium, especially in the, like my practice, which is more like experimental film, but then within this kind of like a much bigger canvas, like within a two hours duration. So I want to kind of like be surprised and be amazed within, the film. Even when I watch my own film, I want to be excited as well. So in a way, I leave a lot of puzzles. So I thought about, okay, the structure should be like more like reflecting the state of mind, the dreams and the memories intertwining, and then sometimes we don't even know exactly where we are, but the film will, if it works, it will lead the audience, and then it will have emotional impact to the audience. And in a way, is something that even me, I kind of knew the structure, but then I even I'm watching it again, I want to be like surprised as well. So the film is kind of like moving. I don't know if this makes sense, but then I thought about like this structure, which is like non-linear. And then, I when you work on, for example, this film, I watched the film so many times during the process, the post-production. And then I kind of like thought about like, oh, I still want to enjoy the experience of watching it. So this structure is kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like naturally like it created.
But how for you personally, this subject itself about military and political interventions in such personal and very closed ties is crucial. Whether the thing that I wanted to ask, whether this affected you and your family personally as well?
Yeah, not, I think being Thai now, within like I think now with even like say the film stopped at 2006, and since then the Thailand, the state of political state of Thailand is still like really turbulent, and yeah, so after that there are still more coup, twice I think, yeah, 2 more coup d'etats and the country is still like even now it's still like very not stable, and then we the people still struggle for freedom of speech, freedom of expressing themselves even within the platform of art. So yeah, I think if you are filmmaker, creators, artists, musicians, I don't see that when you create art, I don't think that you cannot avoid having opinion about like these political, the military oppressions. So yeah, I think it's very you cannot avoid it.
Yeah, but while you were making the Edge of Daybreak and maybe other of your experimental works, were there some interventions from the leading elite also? Maybe this affected you or the creative process as well?
Yeah, no, I think because of my body of work is more like not that direct. So, and then in a way that is even sometimes I think even the authority, if they watch the work, they will be confused and get bored of like this kind of like, it's not easy to digest. It's not directly like yeah, it's more like emotional rather than like having a direct statement. So far I haven't been bothered by them.
But knowing that, what you said about this current situation in Thailand, how, for example, the film, as I understand, it's not released in Thailand, right? Yet, or
yes. Yeah,
but is there a ray of hope that it could happen, or now it looks more rather than it couldn't come out in theaters?
Yeah, I think October some of the film will, I mean the cinema will reopen, and then hopefully we plan to release it in December.
But there haven't been any kind of obstacles in terms of releasing, despite the COVID situation, or maybe other factors, or.
Yeah, I think the cinemas, the theaters here has been, especially in Bangkok, has been closed and from March or April. Yeah, maybe even longer than that. So, and yeah, so the way that the government, this government, which came from the military, like dictatorship, they don't concern much about like the well-being of citizens, and then even some of the people are really suffered from how they manage many things.
But how, for example, your film, and I assume it has this poetic universality of it, as you said, so you're trying to make films that are having this language-like quality of being very indirect. I was curious to ask how The Edge of Daybreak has been received in other countries or in different parts of the world, and what this story about the Parl's and Ploy's family, and the narration means or delivers to them.
So because of travel restriction, so I haven't been to them. I mean, like meet the audience in physical. But so far from the reviews and the audience like Q&As is quite positive, even though the film is not like the narrative is not that like conventional, but I think they can understand the kind of like very undercurrent impending dooms or like the apocalypse of surrounding apocalyptic atmosphere of the film. And I think maybe it has to do with this kind of like pandemic times, the darkness of this time. So I think in a way that they can relate to that as well.
I agree. And previously, I also had conversations with other filmmakers here at the RIGA IFF, and I thought quite interesting to hear from people from different countries that pandemic times have hit them in terms of the memory or what they're perceiving in terms of duration, what they remember, like what happened 2 months ago, or the pandemic times themselves, that they're lasting like forever. Maybe you have also this not apocalyptical, but more like a very juxtaposed situation in the state of mind that also has the resemblance with your wonderful film.
Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, being you know, like being living in this pandemic time is like everyone knows is a challenge in itself. And then, you know, like I think you reflect a lot on of your past. And then strangely, I think that's kind of like I was thinking about like when I was writing the script. So, you know, like I wrote it many nights, like I wrote into the nights, and I would like sometimes it would like fell down and fell asleep during the process of writing, and woke up like in the middle of like maybe 3 a.m. and continue writing. So the film, you can say that it was written half awakened, half dream. So I don't know if that, this is of course before COVID, the pandemic time, but maybe, yeah, I don't know if that answer your question, but yeah, that's yeah. So in a way, it's memories and dreams and what like reflecting on Thai. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, it's just lambering now. So
yeah. No, it's just thought that I've never thought about your film, The Edge of Daybreak, that it kind of has this connection or resemblance to our current situation in terms of pandemic and the way how we're perceiving our inner or external time. But now when you said that, gave entirely new layer of context. I hope to the audience at the RIGA IFF as well. Yeah, but there is also one thing that I wanted to ask, as I made a research and read in one of your interviews that a great inspiration came from Andrzej Żuławski in terms of aesthetics. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about it.
Who again?
Andrzej Żuławski.
You mean Jodorowsky?
Żuławski, yeah.
You mean like the director of Holy Mountain?
Polish director. No, Żuławski. Andrzej Żuławski.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, the third. Yeah, the third part of the night. Oh, okay. I thought about. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, because I think his obsession, and then how he uses his own like personal you know, like turbulence, like divorcing his wife, yeah, and then he wrote the Possessions, and then the oppressive the oppression of the third part of the night, his first feature. I think that kind of like I rewatched it again. I don't know why, but the film, when I watched it many years ago, I thought, wow, it left a very strong mark for me. And then I thought about the structure, and then the what is it, double ganger, you know, the woman, two women, husband. I mean the wives, and you know, like the very you know, I love the stairway, you know, the staircase, the house, you know, and the stair, that's really important in his film. And you know, like I think that reminded me also of Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, in which, you know, the stairway is so like important in the film. And that's why I think the house, I think when we kind of like choose the house, the stairway, you know, that is really also important. And yeah, I think, and then also the whole structure of that film, the third part of the night, yeah, the structure is yeah. But then I didn't like break down the film. It's not that like direct inference, but I think it's more like subconscious inference. Yeah. So
But also thinking about your film, The Edge of Daybreak, I would say the environment or the house, or very uniquely filmed rooms or sets there, in a way having this, what you said about, for example, the stairway of in Zulawski's films, this kind of resemblance to the unconsciousness itself. If you think about the house that you can enter, I don't know, on the first floor or maybe in the attic. So there is this kind of moving around in your own head and consciousness as well. And I think your film possesses, and it has the same quality.
yeah, I think thinking, yeah, like I think it's wonderful that you mentioned that the house. Yeah, so it makes sense now, like the attic, you know, the monologue, the dialogue of that, when the Pilin, the wife, talk about like the lads in the attics. So yeah, I think that somehow perhaps it came from the house in Zulawski film. So,
Or maybe unconsciously, there are things that are overlapping without a reasoning at all. And yeah, I thought
like doors within doors, window within windows, and you know, like the layers of how complex the woman, the wives, you know, her experiences, this family, you know, like the complexity of their experiences.
Great. But unfortunately, Taiki, we have to wrap up. Maybe there is something that I didn't ask to you, or there was something that you wanted to say and share with the audience that wasn't said before.
Yeah. So I'm really honored to be to have this film be part of the Riga International Film Festival. And then, you know, like I did some I just googled the festival, and then I saw that the theater is really beautiful. I don't know if the film can be screened in that theater, you know, the old balcony theater. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. It's like you know, it's like a dream, like for me, I think. I wish I could have been there, you know, to watch this film in that theater, perhaps in the future. But yeah, please, thank you very much, the festival and the team and the audience, to you know, like to have this film and to watch it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I confirm, that your film will be screened at this wonderful film theater. Yeah, Splendid Palace. Yeah. So we're really happy to have you here in this recorded situation, and also to have your really wonderful film. And I really hope that the audience will engage it and will find those multiple layers and the visuality really fascinating. I hope so. And thank you, Taiki, for your time. And and hopefully we'll meet in Riga.
Yeah, it was lovely talking to you. Hope to speak to you soon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Taiki. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.